My name is Sean Carolan, and I'm the head of pre-sales at Instruqt. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but I currently live in Austin, Texas. My favorite arcade game is Donkey Kong. I'm not amazing at it, but I still love to play, and there's a whole lot of strategy and things you can learn about the old school video games by playing Donkey Kong. So if I'm ever in town and you'd like to play, we'll go to the arcade. Instruqt has a great remote culture. One thing that helps a lot is our Slack team. So any time of day you can find someone in Slack to chat with, and oftentimes people will answer even late at night, and I want to send them home and say, hey, what are you doing online? But people are really friendly and helpful. So that helps to generate a sense of community and feeling of belonging, and so you don't feel so isolated, right? Most mornings start with a 6 a.m. yoga class. I like to work out early because it's quiet and there are no distractions at that time. Then calls start around 8 a.m. and because I'm 7 hours apart from my coworkers in the Netherlands, mornings are important. We only have about 2 hours together before folks start to close up and go home. So mornings are busy, lots of meetings, sales calls, connecting with coworkers. Then after lunchtime, things slow down a little bit and I have more time to work on technical projects and helping customers in Slack. Well, in the old days, people bought software differently. Executives might go out on the golf course and chat and strike up a deal, and all of a sudden they've bought some software, and the engineers didn't have much choice. They just had to accept what was given to them and learn how to use it. Nowadays, things are a little bit different. Developers have much more of a say in the buying process. So while they might not be signing the check or actually buying the software, their managers depend on them to give advice and explain how the software works and try it out themselves. So if you don't get that buy-in from the developer and engineer, you could run into problems later on. And oftentimes we hear this term shelfware. Companies will buy some software and either no one wants to use it, or no one knows how to use it, or it doesn't work, or it's not a good fit for the environment. Now you've just wasted a whole bunch of money and time. So it's super important to have your developers and engineers get hands-on with the software, test it out and try it before you make any major purchase decision. Yeah, one of the biggest complaints or problems is that it won't work on my machine. So in the past, we used to have everyone try and do the training on their own laptop, and everybody's laptop is different. Some folks might be on Mac and some might be on Windows. And then they have VPN and corporate software, or maybe they're not allowed to install new software on their laptops. Sometimes the network is blocked. So there's nothing quite so discouraging as coming to a training and finding out you can't even access the classroom and get to square one because your laptop is restricted. So that was one of the hardest things as an instructor. We always had to struggle and fight with corporate enterprise environments and lockdown laptops. So the browser-based approach is great because every single computer has a web browser, and if you have that and a Wi-Fi hotspot or internet access, you can do Instruqt. Product education is crucial to your success, especially if you sell complex software. Users need to learn how to use your tools, otherwise you'll end up spending more on support. Sales cycles take longer, and customers are more satisfied and happy with your software if they understand it and know how to use it. So that all comes down to having good educational content. It needs to be engaging and fun. No one wants to sit through a boring slideshow or lecture or even videos. It's much more fun to get your hands on with a tool and try it and see what it does. So that's one way Instruqt can help, in that we provide real environments where users can interact with your software right through their web browser. Developers usually don't buy the software themselves, so it's a little bit different. They will use the software and they'll have a big influence over whether the company buys the software and which software they buy. There was a book that came out some years ago called The New Kingmakers. And the idea was that developers are super important because they're building your app and the customers are using the app, and so they should have a say in what tools are used to create and deliver features to customers and end users. So while the developer isn't actually signing the check for your software, they will tell their boss, hey, I like this, or I don't like this, it's not going to work in our environment. And therefore, it's really important to get the developer on your side. How do you get the developer on your side? Well, it's not by cold calling them and asking them for a sales meeting, right? You'll just make them mad. The way to win the hearts and minds of developers is to get them using your tool and realizing, oh, this tool can solve some problems for me. This tool makes my life easier. It actually works inside our environment. And now that person becomes your greatest ally. They become a champion, and they'll go and tell their boss, hey boss, we need this software. And that's much more powerful than any sales rep will ever be, because now it's an insider advocating for your tool rather than some salesperson trying to call and impress you with a fancy slide deck or demonstration. People sometimes ask, should we build this ourselves or should we buy it? And the answer is almost always, if you have the budget, just pay for the tooling. So in the IT industry, it's a little weird in that people often build their own tools. This doesn't happen that much in other industries. Take, for example, airlines. Airlines do not start their own catering company to get the meals on board the plane, right? Because that's not their business. Their business is flying people from A to B. So instead, what the airlines do is hire a company that's expert at catering. They've got all the details worked out, and they can make packaged meals with the airline's logo on it and deliver it right to the plane. So in the same way, if your primary business is not building training and demo environments like ours is, most companies sell something else, then you probably don't want to build your own custom demo environments and training labs from scratch. Oh, there are many risks, and folks who haven't done it before are unaware often of what they're getting themselves into. The biggest one is the amount of time that it really takes to maintain these things. Often organizations underestimate how much work goes into a great demo or a lab platform, and they think, oh, I have a cloud account, I'll just build this thing myself. That works fine for a small team, but once the company starts to grow and you have 20, 30, 50, 100 users trying to share your software, it becomes a second job. And now instead of focusing on selling or supporting the customer, you have this whole other piece of software that you wrote that you have to maintain yourself. The coolest track I built? Okay, so here's a fun one. In the technology world, there's a challenge, right? People have heard of these like TikTok social media challenges. And one of the challenges for computers and game systems is called the Doom test. In other words, will this device run the 1993 classic computer game Doom? Doom was maybe one of the original first-person shooter games, and you kind of run around and shoot demons and monsters. And computer tech people have made a hobby of trying to get Doom to run on everything. So from your computer to your Xbox, people have run Doom on calculators, ATM machines. I even saw an example of Doom running on a pregnancy test, which is about the weirdest thing ever. But the little tiny screen on the pregnancy test had Doom running on it. So I took up the challenge and I wanted to know, will Doom run inside of Instruqt? And the answer is yes. If your app runs in a web browser, if it's any kind of a web-based application, chances are strong that it will also run inside of Instruqt. So if you'd like to try Doom on Instruqt, you can click on the link and actually play the OG first-person shooter right in your browser.